Hey y'all, I'm back again with another video. So in this video, I'm just showing y'all how I do my closure sew-ins. This is my client Olivia. Yes, isn't she cute? So before I get into this video, I'm just gonna go ahead and just let y'all know this girl does some bomb sweets, like customization. Anything you can pull up on Pinterest, my girl can do it. I'm gonna drop her info so y'all can go and book her, and it tastes just as good as it looks. But yeah, I just braided her hair straight back for this closure sewing, and I braided going straight back just because this is the best foundation for me. So what I end up doing, well, y'all will see in a minute. But right now I'm just taking that braid that was hanging down and I'm just sewing it onto the rest of those braids, making sure everything is flat. And of course I'm gonna use a knee high for the ball cap. And I'm just gonna take some 91% alcohol and clean up her hairline. Make sure there's not any oils. So of course I'm gonna use my Got To Be Glued spray just to spray that on her hairline and get all of her hairs slicked back. So now I'm just measuring that closure up on her head. She wants a middle part, so of course I'm gonna put the closure in the middle. But what I'm doing right now is cutting off those thick edges of that closure, because if you do not cut those off, your closure will not lay flat. So now I'm going in with my Bold Hold Liquid Gold, and I'm just using that to secure her ball cap in the place where the lace closure will be sitting at. Like I said, this is not harmful for your edges at all. It's argan oil and gel mixed together is what I believe personally, and it washes right off with water. You can also use this if you want to secure your wig. It does hold that wig really good, and that wig does not go anywhere. So I'm also spraying that Got To Be Glued spray on there as well. It just helps that Bold Hold Liquid Gold to dry faster. So now I'm getting ready to sew down her closure. And I had already pre-customized this closure prior to her appointment. By customizing, I mean bleaching those knots and plucking that so that the hairline looks natural. So the first thing I do is I let her hold it down in the front where I need it to be placed so it doesn't move. And your client has to hold that down sturdy, because if they do not hold it down sturdy, it's gonna move. So I just sewed down that back. And now I'm going in with my Ruby Kisses foundation, which is my favorite thing to use. It's a cream and it doesn't cake up or none of that stuff. And I'm just going to use that on her bald cap just to get that skin-like effect. And I'm also going to use that on her closure as well. So after I got that Ruby Kisses foundation on there, I'm going in and telling her to hold that down again. And I'm just sewing down the sides just so that it's nice and secure. So I just pinned that closure up so it'd be out my way while I sew down these bundles. So this is the first bundle, and with the first bundle I do double it up just so that we can fit majority of that hair in and she'll have a nice full sew in. So I'm just cutting that a little bit in the front just to release the pressure on her head. So now that I've got to that corner right there, I'm going to flip that track over. I do not cut my wefts when I'm sewing in here. I just like my clients to be able to reuse their bundles whenever they want to. And what I do on the edges here when I get ready to flip it over is I knot it like 2 or 3 times, and I just take that thread and go around that needle until I'm satisfied with how sturdy it is. So now I'm on to this second bundle, and when I start with the second bundle, I do single weft it. I don't double them up just because we want that install to be nice and flat. You can achieve a flat install by doubling up all of the bundles, but I just prefer not to. So once again, I'm flipping it over and I'm knotting it about 2 or 3 times. And then I just keep going, you know. We just want a flat foundation. We don't want any bumps or any humps or any lumps. And I prefer not to cut my clients' bundles. So the flip over technique is definitely a great go-to when you don't want to cut your bundles. Okay, so now I'm on my last bundle, and yes, again, I single wefted it just so we can make sure it's nice and flat. And I didn't show y'all like the whole time that I was sewing those bundles down just because it's very repetitive. If you don't know how to sew in bundles, then I can do a tutorial for y'all and show y'all in the back like what I do. It's really easy, it's repetitive. I just didn't want to show all that. So now that I'm done sewing in all of her hair, I'm just securing that with about 2 or 3 knots, and I'm just going to cut that excess thread off. And then I'm also going to go in and cut off that excess wig cap that you see there, because you don't want it to show underneath your install, or when the wind is blowing, you don't want your client's cap to be showing. Another way to effectively cover it up if you're scared to get too close to your client's hair is to take that that black candy spray that you use to define your parts and just spray it over that cap. That's gonna cover that up too, if you can't get really close to it. So now, of course, I'm going in with my 91% alcohol and cleaning up that area where her lace is going to lay. Once again, just making sure that it is free of any oils or anything that may prevent that lace from laying down and staying down. So now I'm just taking the eyebrow razor and cutting off that excess lace. Y'all know I like to cut that lace off before I lay it down. It melts better that way. It works better that way. It's just easier to maintain for me, especially for beginners. I would definitely say to cut that lace first. It also helps you mimic your client's hairline as well. That's also why I like to do it. And I also go in with that skin protectant as well, just to protect her skin. And once again, I'm using Hair by Erica J, which is my favorite glue, in her watermelon scent, and I'm just using that to lay that lace down. And as always, I went in with 4 layers of that, and I'm going to use a popsicle stick to help smooth that out as well. So now that that top layer has dried clear, I'm going to go ahead and place that lace into the glue. And you can see like right off the bat, it's melting completely in. So all I'm doing now is just going in where that lace is not glued down. I'm just lifting it back, and I am putting 2 layers of that glue underneath just so that it can melt completely down. Another reason I like doing it like this is because you don't want any glue to go further than your lace. It's a mess to clean up, and it's just another unnecessary step that you do not want to have to take. Cleaning it up is hectic, it's messy, and it can be prevented just by doing this step here. So now I'm just making sure her part is directly in the middle. And I'm gonna go ahead and take that lace band and tie that lace up just so that it can dry and it can melt right. Then I'm going in with my She Is Bum White Stick. And I'm just putting that all over the part, or all around the part, just so that I can hot comb that nice and flat. So Olivia decided to go with body curls for her style today. And in order to achieve the perfect body curls, you need to layer their hair. But I always ask my clients if they want it cut and layered. Because, you know, people like me, I don't like to cut my bundles. I don't like to cut my hair. So I just like to ask and see what they prefer. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going in section by section, and I'm just layering that just so that these curls can fall perfectly. So now I'm just hot combing this piece here, and I'm going to get ready to curl it with this curling iron. It's so easy to use. I ain't got to use my wrist. It's very efficient. It swivels, y'all. It's like a 360 curling iron, and it's hot. I think that thing goes up to 450 degrees. And so I am pinning every single curl that I curl. I am pinning that down. So I took that curl out just so I can take out some hairs that I'm going to be using for her baby hair. And doing it this way, it just helps those baby hairs to be able to form easier when they're laying flat down. You can also go in and use a hot comb to get them to lay flat, but if you're scared to get that hot comb that close to your client's face, then I suggest you do it this way. So before I lay that milk belt down, I am just taking a little bit of that foundation in her skin tone and just putting that all on the front of that lace. It's going to give off that perfect melt. So of course I'm going behind that foundation with the Got To Be Glued spray. And then I'm going to use the melt band just to get that to tie down. That way when I take it off, those baby hairs will be laying flat so that I am ready to cut them and then mold them. I am going in with this curling iron, and I'm just going to curl up the rest of her hair, and I'll also pin it down after I finish curling it. It just helps to preserve that curl. That way the curl won't fall as fast as it would if you would not pin it. And I also go in with this hairspray made by Cake. It smells good, and it's a flexible holding spray. Flexible holding spray. If you use that hardcore holding spray, such as that Got To Be spray, it's just going to cake up in that hair, and when the client get ready to style it or recurl it or whatever they're going to do with it, it's going to be hard for them to do. The hair will be sticking to the curling iron, and sometimes it'll give off a white flake, and that's not cute. So after I finish curling and pinning down her whole head, I go in with that cake flexible holding spray, and I'm just pushing that holding spray into the hair, just, so that's giving me a slight hold, but not a crunchy hold. That way, whenever I get ready to comb it out, it's nice and seamless. I ain't gotta fight it, none of that. So now I'm just combing out those baby hairs, and I'm gonna take my eyebrow razor and I'm going to cut those going diagonally down, just to give it like a slight slant. And I'm gonna mold those baby hairs, of course, with the black bottle of Got To Be Glue gel. I'm gonna use my blow dryer just to get those nice and dry. So if you want, or if your client wants to go with those wispy baby hairs, the fluffy baby hairs are what they're calling them, do not use this black gel. Use a flexible holding spray, such as that cake spray that I was just showing you all, or either Tresemme flexible holding spray, or even Sebastian Shaper Plus. That works well too. Use that to mold the baby hairs and give it that fluffy look, because if you use that gel, it's gonna stay, and it's not gonna be fluffy. It's gonna be flat and molded. Now I'm just taking all of those pins out of those curls, and I'm going to use a comb just to lightly comb out those curls and give it the shape that we are going for. So now I'm just going in again with that cake flexible holding spray, and I'm spraying that all over her hair just so that, you know, her curls will stay nice and bouncy and they won't lose their form. And I'm going in with that Ruby Kisses foundation in a shade lighter than her complexion. And I'm just using that to define that middle part. And then of course I'm going to go in with that black spray and my rat tail comb just to define that part. So now I'm just combing out these curls very lightly. Just make sure that you do not use a rat tail comb to comb them out. Use a wider tooth comb. It don't have to be too wide, but you know, wide enough. And that's just going to give me that look that I am going for. So now the only thing I'm doing is going in with some finishing touches. And you know, I'm just getting everything the way I want it to be. But yeah, I'm gonna hush and let y'all enjoy the rest of this video. Thank you so much for watching. More content will be uploading soon. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much. See y'all later.